Hello everybody, it is officially December and we are going to be starting the Christmas color along. So I uploaded a video a while ago asking you guys which ones you would like to do out of the options, and there was one that was a winner by a landslide. It is not Partridge in a Pear Tree. I know quite a few of you were hoping it would be that one. We will do a color along of that one in the future anyways. But the winner, of course, is Nutcracker. So I am super nervous and also super excited to do this page. It is going to take up every single week of December. So with having, let's see, I think there's there's 5 Fridays in each week, so, sorry, there is 5 Fridays in December, I mean. It's morning here, I'm still a little slow. It will take up every single one of those, and I'm going to guess that quite a few of those videos are going to be super long. So hopefully you guys won't mind, although I'm sure most of you watch my videos because you like the fact that they're long and usually in-depth. So I figure the most, what's the word I'm looking for? The part about this page that makes me the most nervous is her hair. So that's actually what we're going to be doing today. We are going to get that out of the way. Everything else is more just detail. There is so much detail in this picture. It is crazy. So I've already picked out her hair color, and I was actually going through my color combo book and some of the combinations on the Prismacolor group. And the one that I actually decided on, I didn't realize at first, but it is actually the same colors that are in Partridge in a Pear Tree, the original one. So those are the colors we're going to be using. I wanted a super golden yellow tone for her hair. So you've already seen the colors we're going to be using, so let's just dive into this. And I think I'm actually going to quickly look up a couple pictures of this to see how everybody did highlights and stuff on her hair, because that's going to be the trickiest part since it's like super curly. So I think I got a fair idea on how we're going to do her hair, so let's just dive in. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I think we're going to start with actually let's start with the top left of her hair here. So I'm going to go in with my canary yellow, and I'm just going to kind of just give a light layer pretty much to this whole left side of her hair here. And it's going to be really difficult to tell what's supposed to be hair and what's not, so just going to kind of have to wing it.
Sweet silver bells all seem to say, throw cares away, Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the poor. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, that is their song with joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they pound, raising the sound, oh, in the down, telling their tale, gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here, day, merry, merry, merry Christmas, day, merry, merry, merry Christmas. Silver bells all seem to say, don't cares away, Christmas is here.
So now that that's done, I was thinking about mapping out the colors and stuff, but that's gonna take a while. Usually takes like 2 times longer when you do that, so you know what, you guys, to save time, I'm gonna just go in and I'm gonna wing this, and we will hope for the best. You guys will be able to see the, I'll put the picture of the finished piece before and after so you can see how it turns out. So hopefully you'll know if it turns out good or not. So I'm gonna just go in with my dark brown here, and I'm just gonna start putting some shadows in these pieces of hair, and a lot of this is going to be just really sporadic because this hair is kind of everywhere. I have no idea why you guys chose this picture. It's so pretty, but oh my gosh. I'm going to feel, I can already tell I'm going to feel way better when this is done. So I'm just going to lightly just start coming in with the dark brown. So basically, I'm just adding shadows wherever it looks like hair comes, goes behind more hair, or looks like it's coming out from behind more hair. And I think, see, here's our first kind of normal ringlet here. I think what we're going to do for the ringlets is we're going to pretend that some light is coming at her like face on. So the highlights on these ringlets here will be in the center. So we're just going to put shadows on both sides just to kind of make it seem like they're going in and not just flat. It'll make them look a little bit more 3D. I'm still keeping a fairly light pressure just because I'm not 100% sure if our shadows are going to be bigger or smaller. Did it freeze, honey?
No.
Okay, you give me 1 minute, I'll come look, okay? Hey, I can't remember what I was saying either. I couldn't even imagine how long it took Hannah to draw out just her hair. Probably like hours. Okay, so I think for the most part there is all of our shadows. So, let's go in with our, I'm actually going to skip the burnt ochre for now, and we're going to go in with our yellow ochre. So, I'm just going to very lightly just go over the dark brown, and I'm going to kind of try and bring the yellow ochre in towards the middle. If I can, I'm going to try to leave just a thin area where the canary yellow will be going, just for our highlight. We're going to want to try to make sure we have those highlights in there. And it's going to be hard in some areas to keep highlight area, but in some places our yellow ochre will act as a highlight. I'm going to switch back to my dark brown here, and I'm just going to quickly fill that part in a little bit. Okay.
I want tiny.
You are not getting candy until after lunch. Okay. You go play your game or I'm going to shut it off. You know the rules. You let me know when you're done, okay?
Okay, Mommy.
Okay. I'm just going to kind of lightly go over everything.
I like my cool.
Sorry, another little distraction there. Can't remember what I was saying again. So in a lot of these tiny little areas here, I'm just going to completely color them in. There's not much space for doing much there. This is already starting to look pretty good though, so I've got high hopes for this. So what is everybody doing for the holidays? I'd love to know if you guys want to comment down below. For us, just kind of doing the relaxing thing. Hubby has booked the rest of his days off that he can use for this year, so he's got a long vacation at the end of December here. So I think we're just gonna hang out, and we're going to do some decorating tomorrow, I think, the 2nd. And then I get to go up to my step-grandmother's on Christmas Eve. She owns her own little bar in this little town, so we're going out there. She's going to make Christmas supper. It's about a 3-hour drive, so it'll be fun. And then we're coming home that night, and then little man will go to bed, and we'll put out Christmas presents. And then I think we'll be spending Christmas Day with hubby's family. is pretty awesome because I don't have to cook at all this holiday because his mom will cook on Christmas and my grandmother is cooking for Christmas Eve, so that means my house gets to stay nice and clean. All this hair just in behind her neck here. I'm just going to fully color that in. That probably won't have any canary yellow in it. And I'm actually thinking for the most part our highlights will be with the yellow ochre, but we'll be blending with the canary yellow. So we'll kind of use that as our burnisher and blend everything together. I gotta say though, I cannot believe that this year is almost over. Like, I feel like it just started. I remember when I was a kid, things seemed to go like so slow, like especially if you were waiting for stuff. And now as an adult, it's like you blink and it's the end of the year. It very much scares me. So it's probably only gonna get worse as we get older. I'm trying to decide if we're going to go back to the dark brown or put in some burnt ochre yet. Okay, this actually is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's definitely going to take some time, but I think it's going to look good. So I do think I'm going to go back in with the dark brown. And we're going to use a firm pressure with this, and we're going to really get those shadows in. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so it's a little bit easier for you guys to follow along. I will try to remember to keep the camera in frame constantly. So for the most part, I'm going to try and keep it to basically just outlining all these shapes and then just very, very lightly fading it in. all these super tiny pieces that are kind of like behind stuff, I'm going to try and at least fit a couple colors in there, but for the most part they're going to be fairly dark because they're going to be really shadowed. But the more shadows we have in here, the more our lighter colors will really pop and stand out against them. Does anybody else find the sound that you make when you're laying pencil down on paper like really soothing? I find that sound like really relaxing. If somebody else was coloring and I was listening to them color, I'd probably fall asleep. If I'm coloring, I have trouble falling asleep even though it's super relaxing sound because I want to get it done. And I'm very impatient. I can't wait to see how things will look. Sharpen my pencil here. And I know you guys have heard me say this lots, well, lots since I actually started sharpening my pencils, but When you have a sharp point on your pencil, you don't want to go straight up and down. You want to have it at an angle, and you want to constantly kind of turn your pencil. And I know a lot of us kind of lost that. Like, I remember in school, excuse me, like taking notes and stuff, I'd always like constantly like turn my pencil, just constantly. And I find like now, I don't really do that anymore, probably because we don't do as much writing anymore. So it's kind of a hard habit to get back into and remember, but doing that is going to help you keep a point on your pencil for even longer. So it's very beneficial if you want to extend the life of your pencil, which we all do, I'm sure.
I'm hungry.
You're hungry. What would you like to eat?
I want hot.
Oh, honey, we don't have any hot dogs.
Oh, I want to.
I'm sorry, baby. We have cheese and sausage if you want some of that.
That's Daddy did. She's right here.
Okay, I'll make you that, okay? Just give me a minute. Stop touching. Thank you. Okay, so there is our shadows. And that is already making her hair look really awesome. It's a little bit more brown than I wanted, but it'll be okay. So I'm going to get my little dude set up with some food here, and I'll be right back. So I'm back, and we're going to switch to our next color. Don't mind my squeaky chair. So next we're going to be working with burnt ochre, and since we don't really have much space to work with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the dark brown with the burnt ochre to kind of make it a little bit orangey and less dark, which will hopefully make her hair look a little bit more golden like I'd like it to. And also this way we save a little bit of space so we can try and get some more yellow in there. So I'm pretty much just going to go over the dark brown. I'm going to bring it out just slightly further and then fade it off. So we're not going to be going into our lighter areas too much at all. Still using that firm pressure. Just gonna color this piece down here just so I know where the frame of the camera stops. And that'll hopefully help me keep it in frame for you guys. So I'm going fairly firm, but not firm enough to totally varnish the page. We should be able to at least fit one more layer, if not more, in there. We should only need one more layer though. Actually wondering if we should have skipped this color. Hopefully the color will die down a little bit when we put our yellow ochre in it. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to start finishing off these sections of hair as we're working on them. So I'm going to try to do the majority of the hair that's in frame, if I can. Okay, and now we're going to switch to our yellow ochre, which mine needs to be sharpened. And I'm pretty much going to go over everything and try to leave little bits in the center for the canary yellow, if I can. If I can't, it's not too big of a deal. So it's definitely not going to be as blonde as I wanted her to be. She's going to be more of a dirty blonde, brownish blonde hair. Again, using a fairly firm pressure, but still not hard enough to burnish anything. Okay, and next we're going to switch to Canary Yellow. And with this, I'm just going to go over everything. Really firm pressure, now we're burnishing. Very dark blonde color, which I think might actually work with this. And by this I mean the color scheme that I kind of have in my head. I'm not 100% sure on colors yet, but I've got a fairly good idea. Oh my gosh. Totally forgot my paper. Again, I always do that. I'm going to try and get rid of all the dust on the page because there is a lot. Okay. So next we'll move up a little bit and going back in with our burnt ochre again. And let's see here. So right here is where the camera frame ends. Same thing, just going over the dark brown and just bringing it out just a tiny bit more. Okay, now that we're done with that, let's switch to our yellow ochre. And we're just doing the same thing as last time. Just Just pretty much going over everything and trying to leave highlights where we can. Okay, next we'll switch back to the canary yellow. Now you can really tell the difference the canary yellow makes. It makes it way more yellow. Now that I'm seeing the difference, I'm not even sure I like that yellow. But it's too late now. So let's just go with it and hope for the best. Pushing hard enough to burnish, but with these pencils you probably could get another layer over top. My burnishing isn't really pushing as hard as I probably could. It's just pushing hard enough to really get that color on there. I'm just going to pick up my yellow over here and see what happens if I just go over this one curl just a little bit more with it. It doesn't really change it too much. Okay. So back in with our burnt ochre again. And camera ends right about here. And we're doing the exact same thing as last time. Okay, done with that. Let's get back in with our yellow ochre. I think that's looking okay. Let's switch to canary yellow. Yeah, again, just kind of go over everything. As we're getting more of this done, I'm actually starting to dig the color a little bit more. But I do feel like I may need to change up my color choices for this. Let's see. I'm just going to zoom out just a touch so we can try and get all of the rest of this hair in frame. We can finish up this side of her head. So, burnt ochre. And same thing.
Mommy.
Hi baby, what do you need?
I know.
Okay, then go play.
Okay.
Okay.
I like you touch, Mommy.
Thank you, baby. Still very tired from yesterday. We had a very big day. We went to the park and he got to go see his grandma and play with the kids. And we started washing his bedding a little bit later than we should, so he got to stay up late while it dried. So now he's almost in that state where he's like overtired. He doesn't know what to do with himself today. Okay, we'll go back to our yellow ochre. lastly, our canary yellow. Oh boy. That is a lot of hair. So here's where we're at so far. And it definitely does not look blonde, especially on the camera. But I actually really like it. Definitely turned out quite a bit different than this as well. I mean, it looks very similar, but I have a feeling I didn't use quite as much dark brown in this one. It's very interesting how color combinations can always come out differently too. Okay, so silly me. You should never use your hand to wipe away pencil dust. Okay. So hopefully we've managed to get all of her hair done on this side. So let's get the rest of her hair done, like the curly parts, and then we'll just do her head and bangs here. So we're going to go in the same order as last time, so I'm going to take canary yellow and I'm just going to lightly go over everything. Just including this area as well, even though we'll do it after. This part's going to be done a little bit differently. Assuming right here is part of her bangs as well, hopefully. Remember that this part here is part of the Nutcracker's hair. And also that we've got this little bit of hair at the bottom here. Okay, so let's try and get the majority of this tackled at once. So I believe next we used our dark brown just to put in our shadows. So let's do that. And our shadows are pretty much going to be the same as on the other side. We'll try to outline these shapes so that way the highlights are in the middle, and then we'll put shadows anywhere hair looks like it's coming in from behind or going behind other pieces of hair. Okay, and then I believe we skipped the burnt ochre and we went straight to the yellow ochre, so that's what we'll do now. Just going over everything but trying to leave a white highlight in the middle. Okay. I'm going to go back to our dark brown, and we're just going to really define our shadows.
hurting really bad.
Your leg hurts. Did you hurt it?
No.
You're probably having growing pains then. Oh, honey. Are you okay?
No.
Where does it hurt?
I'm right here inside.
Oh. You just sit nicely and just grab your leg and hopefully it'll feel better, okay? You are not getting candy right now, okay? Maybe after you're done eating. Poor little guy. I remember growing pains as a kid and those were not fun. Okay, I think that looks okay. So we'll go in with our burnt ochre now. And we're just going to go over the dark brown and then just fade it out just slightly past where we left off with the dark brown. And I'm kind of going quickly, so it might be hard to follow, but as long as you know what we're doing, you don't really have to color every single strand in the order that I color mine. Just as long as you cover all of your dark brown, you can kind of keep track of where you're going. Try to explain the best I can and then still go at a steady pace just so the videos aren't super long. Both for my sake and yours, because super long videos take a long time for me to edit. They take a lot of space on my computer and take a long time to upload to YouTube. Okay, so now let's switch back to our yellow ochre. And same thing, just go over everything and try to leave that highlight if we can. Okay, and lastly we'll go in with our canary yellow and just go over everything. Okay, so now I'm gonna see if, so I want to stay zoomed in, but I want to be able to, so let's go the other way. I want to be able to get the last bits of her hair all in frame. So I'm just gonna color sideways here while we finish off parts of her hair hanging down. So we're going to go through and do the exact same steps. So I'm just going to start down here. I'm going to lightly block in the shadows. This area is super tiny and it's kind of covered for the most part, so there's actually not going to be too many highlights in here. It's mostly going to be dark. So now let's switch to, I lost my color swatches. Where did those go? Hold on, guys. That's odd. Can't just disappear. Oh well, we're going to switch to our yellow ochre. Do the same thing, we're going to go over the dark brown and bring it out. I'm actually just going to color pretty much everything with the yellow ochre. Down here, I'm going to leave a little room for the highlight, just on this one strand here. We're going to switch back to our dark brown. I have that swatch out. Yeah, I found them. They were on the floor. I don't know how they got there. So I'm just going to come back in and I'm going to really darken up those shadow areas. Okay, and then we'll switch to burnt ochre. Go over the brown, bring it out. Okay, next we're switching to yellow ochre. Go over everything and try to leave areas for the highlights, which really the only highlight we're going to have is like right there. And not everything else, I'm just going to go totally over. Firm pressure, still not burnishing. Just enough paper left for our last layer, which is the canary yellow. I know I probably sound like a broken record at this point. But I know if you're not used to blending and layering, then the steps can kind of get muddled a little bit. So that's it for her hair aside from here. So this is going to be the last little bit that we're going to do. And how do I want to do this? I want her bangs to kind of stand out a little bit, I think. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in with my dark brown. And just kind of going to bring it up from here a little bit. And then bring it down from underneath her bow. It's going to be our shadow. Shadows kind of disappear behind her fringe here, because I'm going to imagine that her fringe has a little bit of volume to it. So I'm going to pretend that it's kind of coming up a little bit before it comes down. So our shadow would actually be kind of behind this part of her fringe. And then kind of peek out again here. Make sure it faded out a little bit. And then along this whole area would be a shadow. It'd be shadowed here too because it would be folding around towards the back of her head, or the top of her head, I guess. Either way, you want to create that illusion that it's kind of going back. Okay, we want to keep her hair the same tone, so we are going to go back through the same steps that we did with the rest of her hair, because we don't want to end up having it a different tone. So next we're going to go in with the canary yellow, and just kind of map out where our highlight's going to be. Which here it's going to come all the way across here. It's going to kind of disappear in this spot here, and then it'll be back on this side. So switch back to our dark brown, and we're going to darken it up a little bit. Okay, next we'll go in with the burnt ochre. Pretty much the same steps as previously. Okay. And this is kind of looking a little funny, so I'm going to put just a little bit of a shadow just behind there. Just very, very lightly. So switch to yellow ochre. Going over everything, try to leave a little bit of a highlight here. I'm just going to color it in completely. Actually, you know what? Let's just color this whole thing in. Let's just do it. I'm losing a little bit of my daylight here, so I might turn my lamp on if this helps. Because I have a little bit of a different color, but it looks like it's going to storm here. Next we're going to switch to our canary yellow and just go over everything. I can't right now, baby. You're gonna have to wait.
You have to wait?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. I think I like that. It's almost a little too brown on this side though. I'm trying to knock that back a little bit more. Okay. So lastly, her fringe. I'm going to go through and I'm going to sharpen all of my pencils. I want a decent point on all of them.
What's that, Mommy?
So I'm going to start with my dark brown. And we're going to use that flicking motion technique. So these lines that Hannah has drawn in here curve, and that's what I want you guys to do with your pencils. I want you to kind of follow these lines. Constantly turning my pencil. I'm going to do the same for this little part of hair right here. So I'm actually going to kind of color in a little bit at the top here. And I'm going to fade it out. I'm just going to keep doing that flicking motion. Same with the bottoms here. So next we're going to switch to our burnt ochre. And we're going to do the same thing. And then same with our yellow ochre. We're going to try and concentrate this one a lot more in the middle. So I'm actually going to use a back and forth motion here. Just to kind of fill in any white that's left. Not completely, but just to give it that yellow tinge. I'm going to put these little pieces down here. So let's just quickly switch back to our dark brown. Burnt ochre. There. And then back with our yellow ochre. Okay, I'm going to switch back to the dark brown, and I'm going to really darken up these lines. So I'm pushing fairly hard now. I want to get a few really visible lines because everything's kind of starting to mesh together. Grab my burnt ochre and do the same thing. Just very dark, firm lines. Okay, and lastly, well, actually let's take the dark brown and do a few lines here too. I got some on our face. And then burnt ochre. Okay, and now we're going in with our canary yellow, and I'm going to color in lines, up and down motion in the way that the hair is going. But I'm basically going to go over everything. Okay, now that left a lot of dust, if you guys can see that, so I'm going to get rid of that right away. And then I also got some on her face here, so I'm going to try and get rid of that too. I'm going to make sure my eraser's clean. Actually, let's see this one. I'm going to try and get rid of that. Okay. And there is her hair finished. And I actually, I was not sure about this at first, but I actually really like it. It's definitely not the blonde I was going for, but it does look very gold, which I actually really like. So, let me see how we're doing for time, and then we'll decide whether this is good for the first part. So we're at about an hour and a half, and I don't really want to start anything else on this page because it's going to take a little bit. So I think what I'm doing is we're going to break this off into pieces. I'm not going to bother to try to keep the videos equal. Some will be longer, some will be shorter. So I'm going to keep this as just her hair. We'll probably do like her skin and the Nutcracker together, and then we'll probably do some clothes and some details together, and then probably all the rest of the details in another video, and then just the final touches, which equals about 5 videos, so that should work. And I'm going to assume that the details video, like all the background stuff, will take probably the longest. And I'm going to try to use color swatches as much as I can for this video, but for a lot of the background stuff, we're just going to be working out of my pencil case. So, yeah. It's definitely going to be fun, and I actually just noticed, I don't know if Hannah's done this with any of her other pages, but she actually has her name signed here. Just noticed that. Anyways, that's it for the first part of this tutorial. I hope you guys are enjoying, and yeah, I'll see you in the next part of the video. Hey everybody, I decided to do a different intro for this video because I just wanted to say that, because I know a lot of you guys use the same colors that I do, and I'm sure a lot of you guys want to. But for those of you that want to try doing different colors, you definitely can. So when I'm watching, well, I actually usually don't follow along with very many YouTubers, but I have a couple times. And usually what I'll do is I'll see the colors that they use, and then I'll get my own. So say if they have 4 colors, I'll usually try and pick my own 4 colors ranging from dark to light. And then I'll just kind of have them written down so I can see whichever their color using, I see which color of mine that I'm going to use. So if you guys don't like how her hair looks, you guys can pick any other color combination that you want and just apply the techniques and the shading and stuff that I use in this video with your own colors if you'd like to. Don't feel bad if you use the same colors that I use. There's nothing wrong with that either. It's just a little tip if you do want to change up your colors. If there's anything in these videos that you don't like, or you think other colors would look even better, you know, sometimes having an outside view and working on a piece, you can kind of see different colors in your head where somebody else might not. So if you want to make variations to your page, definitely do that. I would love to see that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the first part of this color along.